Why are customers ignoring you? Well, there's one major reason that I think customers are ignoring you, and it's this: you're confusing them. The confused mind always says no. The confused mind always says no. If potential clients cannot figure out what problem you can solve for them within seconds, word is unlikely to spread about your business. And let me just explain what I mean by ignoring you. What I really mean by ignoring you is they're not even noticing you. Here's why they're not noticing you. The human brain is a survival machine. It is always looking for any sort of information, any sort of people, connections, social networks, products, ideas, politicians, identity associations, aspirational identities. It's always working to find things that is going to help it survive. Why? Because the planet is a hostile planet. We are programmed to keep ourselves and our offspring and those we love alive. Without this mechanism, by the way, our lives would be completely unmanageable. We probably wouldn't make it very long. You wouldn't look both ways before you cross the street. You would associate with the wrong people. You would get into damaging and dangerous situations. Your brain is always stopping you from doing those things. So if I can't associate your product, your message, your idea, your platform, whatever it is, your philosophy, with my personal survival, I am programmed to ignore you because look, there's 10,000 pieces of information coming my way every day. I'm trying to survive, so I'm filtering out the things that I can't associate with my survival, and I'm paying attention to things that I can associate with my survival. So imagine like 100 softballs, bright white softballs coming at me, and I've got a bat, and my mind is deciding what to hit and what to ignore. Survival softballs are going to be bright yellow, neon yellow, and there's only one out of every 40 or 50 balls that come across the plate, and that's the one I'm going to swing at. When you actually have messaging that associates your product, your ideas, your philosophy, your leadership with the survival of the person that you're talking to, you are the bright yellow softball. If you are just using nuanced messages, clever messages, messages that try to make you sound sophisticated, messages that sound like poetry and sound like you're such a good writer, those are white softballs. I'm sorry, I know that you're smart and all that kind of stuff, but they're white softballs. They're just blending in with background noise. Almost every billboard I see when I drive down the highway is a white softball. And occasionally, gun show, July 3rd, is a bright yellow softball, often literally bright yellow on the sign. And I know that's not how you win awards in advertising, but the way you win awards in advertising is very different than the way you make your client money. And many, many ad agencies they will use your money to come up with a clever, sophisticated, fun idea for a brand that doesn't increase their business at all, but wins them an award. Where if you just put, we're having a 50% off sale, you would make a lot of money. But what ad agency wants to be paid thousands of dollars to come up with a billboard that says we're having a 50% off sale? Nobody wants to do that because it doesn't get them the attention that they want, and they don't actually really care about you making money. I'm talking about simple messages that have what I call low cognitive load. All right, so this is the problem that we're trying to address here. The problem is the cognitive load of your message is too high. What do I mean by cognitive load? Most businesses are too vague in their offering. Therefore, the cognitive load involved in understanding why to hire them is causing potential customers to look everywhere. Here's a principle, it's a rule, it's a law. It's real as the law of physics. The lower the cognitive load, the more people place orders. The lower the cognitive load, the more people place orders. What do I mean by cognitive load? I mean by how heavy your words are, how hard they are to understand. There's a billboard down the street that says, "Sitting the fence, ? Hire a cowboy," and it's got a headshot of a guy in a cowboy hat. "Sitting the fence, ? Hire a cowboy." Okay, what do you think that, I'm actually asking you to think about it where most people are not going to think about it. It's probably going to take you a while to figure out, oh, he builds fences. Like he builds fences in the neighborhood, and apparently he's some sort of cowboy. By the way, the word cowboy is spelled with a K, not a C. I don't know. Maybe the guy's name is Kyle. Maybe he can't spell. I have no idea. But he spent money on that billboard, and it's confusing, it's elusive, and it's ignored. Nobody pulls over on the side of the road, pours themselves a glass of coffee out of a thermos, and says, "Hey, honey, let's study this billboard and try to figure out what it means." Nobody's doing that. If you would just say, "Need a fence? hire a cowboy, and then the image should be the cowboy in the cowboy hat building a fence to sort of reiterate the idea that he can build a fence. The business would actually go up. But instead, whoever built that billboard got cute, got clever, got sophisticated, and I'm sorry, it's massively less effective than it should be. Be clear, don't be clever. Let me give you an example. I was in Colorado Springs recently. It was cold there, and I hadn't packed for cold weather. So I was like, well, let me run somewhere and get a sweater real quick. And so I looked up men's clothing stores in my area. I came across a shop. I changed the name of the shop because I don't want to throw these guys under the bus because they're really wonderful, wonderful guys, because I did go by there. But I went to their website, and this was on the header of their website. Probably should have been on the About Us page, but it wasn't. It was on the header of their website. I want to weigh the words on the header of their website and show you how high the cognitive load is, therefore how ineffective this website actually was. Let's weigh the cognitive load in this messaging. Welcome to the men's shop where style meets purpose. Where style meets purpose. What's the point of where style meets purpose? I'm going to add 20 pounds to this message because I have never in my life woken up and said, I want my style to meet my purpose. I never have gone to my wife and said, hon, I just don't feel like my style meets my purpose. And honestly, I don't know what you're talking about. Where style meets purpose? I don't understand what you're talking about, and if I can't understand it, it's a heavy cognitive load statement, and heavy cognitive load statements get ignored. The next one, since opening in 2017, in other words, they opened like less than a decade ago. It's like, don't put that. I don't know why you would put that on your website, but now I'm doing math about and thinking about when you open. I need a sweater. I don't need to know how long you've been in business. We're going to add 15 pounds. And then we have been on a mission. Okay, now you're telling me about your mission. My mission is to get a sweater. But apparently you're on some kind of mission and I'm having to read about it. That has nothing to do with me. That's a great intake idea if you're on-ramping an employee. Your customers don't need to know your mission. We have been on a mission, adds 15 pounds, to not only dress the modern human. What? What does that even mean, dress the modern human? I guess it means they don't dress dead people. Like they don't dress Roman soldiers. They only dress people who are alive today. Modern human. I'm adding 25 pounds of that. I've looked at this 1,000 times. I still don't know what you mean by dressing the modern human. Do you see how they're trying to sound clever? They're trying to sound clever, but they're writing copy that is being ignored, or worse, just confusing people. Dress the modern human in stylish business and professional apparel. Do you know the difference between business and professional apparel? First of all, I kind of know what business casual is. I don't know what the difference between business and professional apparel actually is. Therefore, I'm adding 15 pounds, but also to make a positive impact on our community. Positive impact is something that you're trying to do. I would add another 10 pounds. This is literally a 100-pound paragraph. Remember, heavy paragraphs get ignored, light paragraphs, people pay attention to them. The solution to this sort of problem in your copy, and by the way, you don't know you're doing it because you're so close to your business that you talk over people's heads without even understanding that they don't even have a basic framework or understanding of what you do. So you've got to use like third grade language. Let me give you an example. Jeb Bush wrote a book called, or I don't even know what the name of the book is, but it's a book about immigration. Donald Trump had a tagline, build a wall. 3 words beat a book. You have this very high cognitive load message for a guy who wants to be president and a guy with a bumper sticker. The bumper sticker. Now, am I happy about that? I'm not happy about that, but that's a fact. Why? Because the body politic is not sitting out there going, you know what? Let's spend the next 6 months studying deeply who I want to vote for president. These people are busy. They have kids. They have to take their kids to soccer practice. They have a job. They have a mortgage to pay. They're not out there studying anything. And sadly, they're relying on sound bites. Well, the same thing is happening with your business. Your competition is beating you with simple messaging. You are trying to compete with high cognitive load messaging, and it's not working. I'm telling you how it is, and you need to understand if you want to compete, provide really great quality solutions, provide really great quality products, and also use sound bites in order to compete in the marketplace. The goal of our sound bites, decrease the cognitive load of all messaging. How do you do this? Your sound bites should be clear. Your sound bites should be consistent. your sound bites should stick and spread. Let me give you an example of a relatively high cognitive load with one of our clients, YNAB. It's an app that you use to manage your money. Change your relationship with money. Sounds kind of sophisticated, sounds kind of clever, but what does it mean? I actually don't know what that means. That's a relatively, I would give that a cognitive load of about 20. Not awful, not terrible at all, but about 20. Let's change that to never worry about money again. The relief of a pain if you download this app. They are seeing much more engagement with simple messages than they are with high cognitive load messages. I will repeat, high cognitive load messages sink, low cognitive load messages soar. Why are you being ignored by customers? I guarantee you it is because you are putting out there high cognitive load messages. Okay, if you want me to teach you to create low cognitive load messages and you want to see examples of low cognitive load messages, I send out a weekly video at weeklysoundbite.com. It's my weekly soundbite series. It's just me looking at a brand, showing you the sound bites that they can use or they have used to make hundreds of millions of dollars. You watch enough of these, you get those reps, I'm going to transform you into a soundbite specialist. You will be able to think and speak in soundbites so that people listen, follow, and engage you. Go to weeklysoundbite.com. These videos are not on YouTube. They're not out there for the public. They're only for people who sign up at weeklysoundbite.com. Sign up there, and I'll see you again soon. Start using low cognitive load sound bites, and more people will place orders, I promise.